Between sun-soaked cities, lush green forests, endless beaches, mountain escapes, and quiet coastal retreats, Tenerife is a varied and verdant paradise that is worth visiting throughout the year. Welcome to Tenerife. This is the most visited of the Canary Islands, and in the next few days we're going to show you the best things to do on the island. Tenerife is one of an archipelago of islands off the west coast of North Africa and is often nicknamed as the Island of Eternal Spring thanks to its moderate climate all year round. So, without further ado, let's get into the best things to do on the island. Santa Cruz de Tenerife is the capital of Tenerife and is one of the joint capitals of the Canary Islands, together with Las Palmas of Gran Canaria. There's a myriad of modern cafes here, as well as lots of little boutiques and cobbled lanes. After parking our car up in the car park, which is part of the covered market complex, we headed out to explore the town. Our first port of call was La Escala Cafe, a modern specialty coffee shop which reflects the vibrant and modern buzz of the whole city. One of the most historic things to do in town is check out the church dedicated to St. Francis of Assisi, which dates back to the latter half of the 17th century. Nearby, the small park named Plaza del Príncipe de Asturias is a quiet and relaxing green space where locals hang out. Finally, the working clock surrounded by flowers marks the entryway to Parque Garcia Sanabria, which is one of the largest open spaces in the city. Just a short drive away, you'll come to San Cristóbal de La Laguna, which is one of the most popular villages on the island thanks to just how beautiful it is. Meandering, predominantly pedestrianised cobbled lanes crisscross through lush green parks and past historic churches. We grabbed lunch at a cafe called Ahu Bowls and loved our toasts and specialty coffee. All in all, you need around 2 hours to truly enjoy all that this town has to offer. Just be sure to wear comfortable shoes as there's lots of cobblestones. From there, it's an easy drive to reach what is easily the most secluded and rural part of Tenerife, the Parque Rural de Anaga. On your drive to reach the park, you'll come across several beautiful viewpoints where you won't be able to help yourself but stop and take a photo. Once in the park, I would personally start at the visitor centre, where you can pick up a detailed map of the surrounding area and go on a little trail which will give you a glimpse of what the rest of the area looks like. The visitor centre is completely free to visit, and there are a few exhibitions detailing the history and archaeology of the local area. You'll want to pack a rain jacket as it's pretty much always overcast here, and rain is just honestly very common even during the summer. Then again, this is probably what makes it so verdant. Even if you've come straight from the warm coastal towns below, don't be surprised if you see a lot of cloud coverage. Directly from the visitor centre, there are a lot of hiking routes, but as we only had a short time on the island, we drove to a few of the more popular viewpoints instead. The nature preserve covers a staggering 14,419 hectares and was established in 1994. In the park, you can expect to find gorgeous views down to sea level, through deep ravines and through mountain passes. We then drove to reach our accommodation for the next 2 nights. Now, there are a few things I have to say about driving on the island. The first is that the smaller the car, the better, because driving around can be quite tight in some spots, and the same can be said for parking. While you could probably visit Tenerife without your own vehicle and stick to public transportation, renting your own wheels will give you a lot more flexibility. Our accommodation was in a pretty picturesque setting, but I won't give you the name as there were a few issues that made it super overpriced, including a pest infestation. Luckily, however, there are dozens of self-catered options on the island in secluded little hamlets such as this, and so be sure to book in advance in order to secure great accommodation. The The next morning, we got up pretty early as we only had one final day of activities left ahead of us. We started off by driving through steep mountain passes to the little village of Masca. En route, and especially on the mountain road which leads down to the village, there are a lot of photo opportunities, and so you'll want to have your camera ready at all times. And the person who actually wants to take the camera shouldn't be the driver, because honestly there are so many spots where you can't really stop, but you can snap a photo if you're in the passenger seat. Now, this is one of the most picturesque villages on the island, but it's also one of the most crowded, and so you'll want to visit before 10 AM for a number of reasons. The first is that there's really not very much parking at the village, and so you won't be able to stop and visit if you arrive too late. The next is related to this, and is that the roads are literally so narrow to get there that you won't want to waste your precious time in the Canary Islands queuing in traffic to go past different buses and other cars. From Masca, it was a long drive up a mountain to reach what is the highest point in Spain. This is one place where I would make sure to come prepared with a warm jacket and plenty of snacks and drinks. Mount Teide stands at a staggering 3,715 meters above sea level, and you can drive up to around 2,500 meters above sea level. En route, you will see desert landscapes and views of the island below. Once at the car parking area, you can take a cable car to reach the very top of the island. However, note that you can only buy your cable car tickets online, and there are a limited number, so reserve your spot a few days in advance at least. This was the most expensive thing we did in the Canary Islands and cost us €40 per person. The cable car takes just under 10 minutes, and once at the top, you can walk a few different routes to admire the views below. However, if it's overcast, as it was when we visited, then you'll just see a bit of cloud coverage, but it's beautiful nonetheless. You should also note that you can't take the path to the summit unless you pay an extra supplement for conservation purposes. Mount Teide is a stratovolcano, characterized by its layered structure formed by successive volcanic eruptions. It's actually considered to be an active volcano since the last eruption occurred in 1909. Today, the volcano is located within Tday National Park, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. You're allowed a maximum of 1 hour at the top before you have to make your way back down the mountain with the cable car. On the way back, the cable car takes a little less time than on the way up, and once you're back down, there's a small exhibition, as well as a cafe where you can enjoy light refreshments. We then made our way back down the mountain to sea level, and I was pretty surprised at the varied weather we experienced en route. Our next stop of the day was Icod de los Vinos, which is a delightful town with a population of around 22,000 residents. We're currently in the Parque del Drago in Icod de los Vinos, where there's alleged to be the oldest Draco-Dracaena tree in the Canary Islands. Local legend suggests that it's up to 1,000 years old. The rest of the park is rather lovely, and you can spend around half an hour or so admiring the varying plant species and reading the plaques to learn more about the various flora and flora growing on Tenerife. After admiring the gardens, do take another half an hour or so to explore the actual town of Icod de los Vinos, which is full of cobbled lanes, a beautiful town square where you can see views of the Drago tree, and some other beautiful boutiques. From there, it was around a 15-minute drive to reach Garachico. This is a sleepy little town by the sea, which is famed for its natural rock pools. Unfortunately, they were closed for the winter season, but the town itself is pleasant enough, with lots of little cobbled lanes, independent eateries, and beautiful views. You could easily spend around an hour or so allowing the town to reveal itself to you, walking alongside the seafront and enjoying a drink at one of the many cafes in town. Garachico has a long and varied history and was a pretty important port in the 16th and 17th centuries. It was a major trading hub for goods such as sugar, wine, and other goods. However, in 1706, the town was pretty devastated by a volcanic eruption from nearby Mount Teide, leading to a decline of the port. Today, the town is more focused on tourism more than anything else. We then went to see the sunset by the sea, and this was really a magical experience as we got to see the beautiful candy colours dance across the sky towards the sea. We ended our time on Tenerife by heading to one of the most magical restaurants we've been fortunate enough to visit in the Canary Islands, Icod. They had plenty of vegetarian options on the menu and served up a fusion of Mexican, Japanese and Peruvian food. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more travel movies. See you next time. Bye!